Welcome to the Astrology for the week of October 8th through 14th, 2023. I'm Everett Curdy, and I just want to invite you to subscribe to my channel, first of all, if you haven't yet, so that this channel can grow. I also invite you to like this video so that it gets out to more people who would find interest and value in this information that I'm going to provide to you today. And also hit the little notification bell so that you do not miss content from me. I'm Everett Curdy and welcome to my channel. On this channel, I do videos on astrology and spirituality. Every week, I take a pulse of the astrological energies for the week. On Saturday, I publish a video on the weekly astrology. On Sunday, I do either astrology or spirituality videos that are general topics. They're not like a forecast for something upcoming. Or, I share general videos on Sundays that are topics that I'm very interested in and I want to share with you, what I feel inspired to share with you. And then also on Fridays, I upload a TikTok video to my YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, of course. And then on Mondays, I do a blog post on my website, Knowledge, Wisdom, and Me. And you can find all of the links on my YouTube channel about page. And so I do the blog posts on my website and also on the community tab of my YouTube channel on Facebook and Instagram. So that's just a little background about me and what I do. So let's jump into this week. We begin on Sunday, October 8th. And so, let me just tell you a story. This is the second time that I am now filming this video. Because I filmed a video, it was a live stream that I went on talking about the weekly astrology yesterday on Saturday, and then what ended up happening was I did not realize that the sound was on, and so I went through the whole scope of information that I wanted to get through, and then I discovered I can't hear this, and I figured out I didn't make sure the sound was on beforehand. So now I know what to look for. Now I know that if I'm going to do a video or a live stream, I will make sure that the sound is on. So I reset myself, I went to bed, I slept, and then I wake up this morning wanting to do this video again because the astrology this week, there's a lot going on. And I think if I just not give you the astrology is, really disappointing. So this is the second time that I am doing this video. What I have in my mind is a promise to myself that if I do the video and it doesn't turn out the way that I want it to, I will just sleep, reset myself, wake up the next day, and then do the video again so that it feels fresh, so that it feels like I'm doing it the first time, since I'm a one-take type person. Because when I do it once, it's fine until I do it again, and then it turns into perfectionism. So, if you're going to do it a second time, you might as well do it a third time, and then a fourth time if it's not right. So that is why I prefer doing these videos once. But so anyway, we begin on October 8th with a square aspect between Mars and Pluto. So Mars and Pluto are 90 degrees away from each other. Mars is in Libra, which is having us evaluate our relationships and how we give peace in our relationships and how we're fair and diplomatic in our relationships. But Mars is also having us consider the multiple options of what we can do. And let's not just jump on what we can do. let's weigh out all the different options and all the different perspectives. So the downside of Mars in Libra is indecisiveness, because Mars rules Aries. It's very decisive. It has a sense of direction. It knows where it's going to go. But Mars in Libra is different, because it can be very difficult for Mars in Libra to make decisions. So I discuss more about Mars in Libra in the horoscope that I did for the week of August 27th through September 2nd, which you can check out on my channel. I will link it down below so that you can hear what I have to say about Mars in Libra. But so Mars is at late degree Libra, and Pluto is at the energetic degrees of Capricorn. So Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008, and what happened in 2008 was something known as the global financial crisis. So Pluto entered Capricorn. So since 2008, it has been disrupting the power structures, the institutions, the governments, top-down external authority that is a limitation on people's sovereignty, on their autonomy, on their own inner authority. In the transformation with governments, institutions, personal goals, long-term plans, is a transformation as we are finding the authority within ourselves. We're allowing our own selves to guide our life in the decisions that we make, in the steps that we take, in the direction that we move in. It is more inner. We're not looking towards the external people or the big brother aspects of life, but we are turning it in on ourselves. We're, looking within ourselves for that kind of authority. And so that's really Pluto and Capricorn. And so Pluto's at the energetic degree of Capricorn. Pluto is going to be in Capricorn for the rest of 2023. And in the middle of January of 2024, Pluto is going to move into Aquarius. And for most of 2024, it is going to spend most of that year in the sign of Aquarius, and then it's going to move back into Capricorn for just a few months. And then in November of 2024, it's going to enter Aquarius, and it's going to be there full time until 2044. So let's discuss these two energies first of all. So Mars is the god of war. It's known as Ares, or Ares. That's how it's spelled in Greek mythology. And so Ares was a god that was worshipped and looked up to and looked upon for being a hero, for being the one that people can rely on to fight for whatever cause that people want to fight for. But it was also feared and hated and disliked and detested for its aggressive, impulsive, behavior when it would rain down upon people and destroy people and do all these negative, destructive things, because that was the other side. So Mars is the god of war. It is how we approach challenges in our life, how we approach conflict. Mars is a masculine energy, so Mars is not like Venus that attracts and wants harmony and wants peace and wants love. Mars wants what it wants, and it's about the energy and the motivation and drive that you have to go after what you want, and how you can have the activation energy and force yourself to get what you want. So it deals with self-assertion, how you assert yourself in your own life to get what you want. So it's the planet of action. Mars wants to make sure that we all take action. Mars does not want to see people sitting on the sidelines and not taking action towards what they want in their life. Mars says, get up, pick up the energy, make it happen. So Mars is also the planet of violence, the planet of determination. How determined and how persistent and steadfast are you when achieving your goals? But then Mars is also, again, aggressive and violence. Now, Pluto is known as the higher octave of Mars. Pluto is the planet of personal empowerment. So whatever stands away from you being in your power, Pluto is basically going to go through and destroy it with a sledgehammer. And so Pluto has been doing that in the Capricorn area of your chart since 2008. So it deals with death and rebirth. You're letting things die that don't work for you anymore. What doesn't serve you, what doesn't work out for you anymore, will be something that Pluto is going to come through and destroy. So Pluto represents, the phoenix rising out of the ashes, your that kind of thing. So transformation is also something that Pluto rules over, how you, merge, you go through the chrysalis of the cocoon, and then you reemerge miraculous and healed and integrated and, whole again. And so it deals with spiritual growth, how you are slowly letting die what doesn't work for you and transforming. And it deals with regeneration. And then destruction of what doesn't work. And so that's Pluto. So this particular aspect is a square. So squares are 90 degrees apart from each other. They represent conflict and tension, and there's a resistant energy to the square. The two planets are at odds. But that discomfort that the square provides to us is for our highest good. It presents a negative energy. It presents a difficult energy in difficult circumstances and discomfort so that we can face what is not working for us and we can take action to change, because if we're feeling uncomfortable, if there's tension, then that can propel us to change. And that's what the square is about, taking action to change something. So squares bring to light and they illuminate the shadow sides of whatever planets are squaring off with each other. So you could find that you may feel more aggressive, overly assertive, overly competitive. That's something here. You want what you want. You're not going to stand for anyone to tell you you can't have it. So overly assertive. Now, what is overly assertive? What is assertiveness without the kindness and consideration for others? It is aggressive. So you could find that you feel more aggressive during this particular aspect. And so feeling more aggressive feeling like you want to just fight your way into something and you don't care who you're going to burn on that path. So you're fighting your way into something where it is a detriment to the other person and it hurts the other person. So be sure that you're not bulldozing, that you watch out for how you use your personal power. Are you using it to bring people together? Are you using it for your highest good and everyone else's highest good? Are you using it to live a more authentic life? To get what you want where it doesn't hurt other people? Or are you abusing it and hurting your relationships and moving on the path of selfishness with that personal power? So it's a good aspect to be mindful of how we are using our power, how we are directing our energy out into the world. So you could be feeling more frustrated. There's a frustrated energy. Maybe you could feel more argumentative against others, more confrontational, and more competitive. But at best, you can use this particular square to go after what you're passionate about. What are you passionate about? What do you feel in your bones so strongly, so incredibly deep that you are willing to go after it? So this Mars-Pluto square energy could be really, really productive. You could get a lot done, get a lot accomplished, get a lot achieved with this square. And the effort that you give is really all that you have, and this can be with life itself. So what do you need to get done? What do you need to get checked off your bucket list? What goal do you need to see through? And are you going to give it all that you got? Or are you going to do it halfway? Because Pluto energy is intense. Pluto is like, I have a focus, and I am going to go to the ends of the earth to achieve this. So whatever you need to do, it's a good opportunity to give it all you got. And you may feel really strong in that regard, and your willpower may show up. You may have a will and a determination to go after what you want, and you're stubbornly focused and committed on what you want. The other thing to be aware of is risk-taking. So, it's important to look before you leap, before jumping off the cliff. It's important to look both ways before you cross the street. It's important to check in with others before you just take a risk. And it can end up being very negative and very detrimental, hurting yourself and others, very self-destructive, very rash, and not spiritually right. So if you can take a pause and consider if you want to take a risk during this time in any way, shape, or form, it's important to just be mindful of the risk that you're taking. Is this risk going to put me in a lot of harm, put me in a lot of pain and negativity? Or is this risk really worth taking? Is this risk really worth going after? And are the results of taking this risk going to be worth it? Am I going to reap the results? Am I going to be in a better place than I am now after taking this risk? Is it a smart and wise choice to take this risk? All those kind of questions are important to think about during this time. Now, also on October 8th, Venus changes sign finally, Venus has been in Leo since June 5th because of its retrograde from July 22nd to September 3rd. So now Venus is moving on into Virgo. So when Venus is in Virgo, it's going to be here. It's going to be in this sign from October 8th to November 8th. So Venus is the planet of love. It's the planet of beauty. It's the planet of what you find pleasurable, what you find attractive, the kinds of things that you want to surround yourself and decorate yourself with. It rules over beauty and aesthetic, and it's also your relationships, how you show up in relationships and what kind of relationship is right for you. That's all indicated by Venus. Like, what is your love language is also part of Venus. How do you feel? Like, if you want to feel connected in a relationship, what has to be happening? What is the criteria for you to feel connected? What is the right way to give and receive love in a relationship? Now, that's all indicated by Venus. And whatever sign it falls in your natal chart. So Venus in Virgo really likes to put things into order. It wants everything to be neat and tidy. The socks in the right drawer, the forks and spoons in the right places, the clothes in the closet, the dresser in the bedroom. All these little details and things in their proper, if you have a lot of things around your house and when you put them in their proper place, this is what Venus in Virgo really finds beautiful and attractive, is neat and tidy organization. It wants things to be in order so that you can feel calm and grounded and all this kind of things like that. Where you can efficiently and effectively carry out what it is that you want in your life. Venus in Virgo can also be kind of persnickety, kind of cautious when it comes to love. So you may find that you're more particular about the particular partner that you want if you're starting new relationships at this time, or the relationships you already have. When you're becoming more particular of those people and their flaws and what they're doing and what they have going on. So you may find that you're more particular, maybe feeling more judgmental of other people and what they're doing. And so you can use this transit of Venus in Virgo to be very, very discerning about the partner that you want and what is right for you. And it comes down to the question of what purpose, what function does the relationship serve? What function does it serve? Is it doing justice for you or is it not? So the thing about Venus in Virgo is it really seeks the perfect partner. So I think a one-liner that a Venus in Virgo invented is be perfect in the partner you choose. Now, I heard this line when I was watching a film, which I'll probably link below if I remember to do so. I was watching this film. It was a film from a channel, Paradigm Studios, and the film began with a young lady and her male fiance, sitting at a table eating dinner, and he was like, "It's going to be a darn shame if you do not give me money for how hard I have worked for this family." That was the family of his fiance. And so he was mad and he was frustrated about that. and his name was Ian, by the way. So he was frustrated at that. And the only reason that he was in that relationship was to get money, was to be rich, was to be financially wealthy. And so she pulled him aside and they argued. And he was very verbally, disrespectful and abusive. So he had to leave the family. And so then she came to the conclusion that this partner doesn't really want to love her for who she is. He's just in it for the money. So what ended up happening was she let him go, and she let him remove himself from her life. And that partner was not perfect. Now, no one is perfect. No one fits and checks all the boxes. However, which is the best one out of all of the options of a partner that you can choose? Like, which one cuts the mustard and checks out of all the people? So, being perfect in the partner you choose is choosing one that is in alignment with your values, that you truly love, that you feel will nurture and nourish you, that you feel like you can grow a lot from, and it can be a very long-term relationship. I mean, all these kind of things are things to keep in consideration when you're choosing a partner. So becoming very discerning about which relationships are right for us and which relationships need to get changed or go. Or maybe certain approaches to relationships need to get shifted and changed around with Venus and Virgo. So it's a good opportunity because you may find yourself wanting to be of service in love. Venus and Virgo loves through wanting to be of service to the other person, wanting to do things like take out the trash, mow the lawn, prepare a meal, like productive, practical things that shows that you appreciate the partner and you care for them, that you love them and you want them in your life and you find them worthy and valuable. And so you're going to do things which are showing, that you're being in service to the other person in relationships. This is also a transit to focus on personal health and well-being, so health is wealth during Venus in Virgo. So maintaining your physical body, maintaining your mental health, your emotional health, all these kind of things are really, really important during Venus and Virgo. Is nutrition. So keeping in mind your nutrition, keeping in mind what you're putting in your body, basically, and how that's serving or not helping your body. So nutrition, eating right, eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, eating a lot of grains, proteins, foods that are high in fiber and protein, really thinking about how we honor the temple, which is our body. Maybe caring for our bodies more, as the soul signed up in this life to move through it via your body. So, maintaining that, working out, drinking a lot of water, all these kind of things are going to be more valuable with Venus in the sign of Virgo. On October 10th, we have Pluto stationing direct at 28 degrees of Capricorn. So, Pluto is standing still in the sky at 28 degrees of Capricorn It's going to move on into Aquarius next year, full time. But Pluto stationing direct, you want to look in your chart to where you have from 27 degrees of the cardinal signs, Aries, Libra, Cancer, Capricorn, and up to 2 degrees of the fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, because this Pluto station is going to be extra permanent for you. So this is time. This is a time for you to be more fully in your power, to be empowered, and to take the chance and make those changes and act upon those changes and transformations that you want to act upon. Because when Pluto was retrograde, we were reviewing all of our shadows, all those negative, darker aspects of life, all the hard things. We were reviewing that. And now it is time to take action and step into our power. And now we can truly let go of what's not working out for us on a mental and emotional level. Now, the other energy that's taking place on October 10th is Venus opposite Saturn. So Venus and Saturn are 180 degrees opposite each other in the sky. And so, what this means is that oppositions are basically one planet wanting to be one way and the other planet wanting to do the exact opposite thing, and they're not moving. So, oppositions are a more challenging aspect in astrology. But at best, you can balance the two out and give the other what the other lacks. So the two planets are fighting for power, or they're just moving away from each other. They're just doing this. But ultimately, we want this. We want to take the high qualities from one, and then the good qualities from the other, and then we want to put them together and find the sweet spot of integration and balance between what is the high road of what this one has and what is the high road of what that one has. So we're putting them together. Now, Saturn's the planet that is a malefic energy. It rules over time. It rules over putting in the hard work and not really having anything handed to you in your life. It deals with the blood, sweat, and tears that you have to put in to achieve your goals, to mature spiritually, to choose discipline and persistence towards the things that you need and want to get done, and that you want to see your dreams into reality. And Saturn is, you can get anything, have anything if you're willing to work for it. That's very, very Saturnian, that you have to do the work. So, Venus opposite Saturn, this particular aspect, Venus in Virgo wants to be very detail-oriented, wants to make sure that everything is in its proper place, in proper order, and wants to make sure that everyone is taken care of. Saturn in Pisces wants to merge with the divine feminine and connect with a higher power and float off into the vast seas of life and not really get too sucked into the 3D mundane reality. So this aspect of Venus and Saturn could have you feeling more lonely. You could feel just lonely. Like the person, you could feel just unloved and not nourished like you want to by somebody. And so loneliness, you could feel loneliness in your relationships. Maybe it's a boredom and just a harshness of reality of how this relationship is, not really feeling nurtured and nourished in your relationships. And with this malefic energy, can you find the light? in the love that the other person is giving to you. And you find solace and peace and tranquility and love within the boredom, within the mundane environment, within those feelings of loneliness. You could also feel more limited and restricted in love. So, not feeling like you can truly be your true self in your relationship. That's also how this can show up. So, feeling restricted on maybe expressing your emotions, of feeling what you need to feel, of doing things that are in alignment with your values. So, see where that lands for you. This could also present a sober sadness and depressed feeling, just a sorrow feeling of, oh, this is just the way it is. And I can't do anything about it. So feeling sad and maybe feeling depressed about the state of your relationships. And the other thing about this aspect is not feeling worthy in love, just not feeling worthy of just receiving the love. And just like you're just not worthy. There's really no other way of explaining it. So you could feel that kind of feeling, that I am not worthy of having all the things that I want and receiving the love, but you really are worthy. You are worthy. So don't forget that. Now, on October 11th, we have Mars entering Scorpio. So Mars is going to be in Scorpio from October 11th through November 24th. So, with Mars in Scorpio, there is no placement like Mars in Scorpio that has as an intense and single-minded focus as Mars in Scorpio. So your focus for getting what you want, achieving what you want, could be very intense and single-minded at this time. You're very, very driven, and you're passionate, and you're determined, and your willpower is up, your heightened sense of strength is up, your inner power is up to go after what you want in a very single-minded, focused way. So your passions are lit up. Like, what makes you angry? What are you passionate about? And now is the time to express that and go after it. And so you could feel a strong motivation towards getting what you want during this time. So a strong sense of drive and motivation could be here. Another thing is obsessive tendencies. So obsessing over, because Mars and Scorpio can be pretty obsessive over what it wants. So you could find that to be true. And also, you may be focused on what others may repress within themselves, what other people may hold within themselves, what other people are denying themselves of feeling and being present with. And so you could also be focused on other people and their psychological motivations at this time. So there is no middle road with Mars in Scorpio. So Mars in Scorpio is like, not, black or white, this or that. You have a direction, you have something that you want to achieve, and you're going to go after it to the ends of the earth. The other thing is that you may want to feel intense emotions through transformative, intense experiences that may be crisis-oriented. Scorpio thrives on the adrenaline rush, on intense experiences. So you may also feel the need for experiences that bring a lot of intense emotion to your front door. And your emotions when it comes to what you desire could be very, very strong and very deep and primal at this time. That it feels like you can't let anyone get in your way with you achieving what you want. You're going to have this. And you may not feel so afraid of burning something to the ground and destructing something in order to transform it. So now is an opportunity to really release what doesn't serve you and destruct what's not working out for you in your life. To transform it and to heal and to move in that phoenix eagle path, which are two symbols that are represented by Scorpio, to have what you want. So Mars feels right at home in Scorpio because Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio. So Mars wants to, Mars in Scorpio wants to dig right to the root of a given situation, get right to the core of it. What's going on? What is actually going on here? What's real? What is the truth? What lies beyond the superficial stuff, beyond everything that is going on the surface? What is at the core of this? It's very probing. It wants to investigate. It wants to dig deep and find the gold, find the treasure, find the truth. So that's also a strong part of this energy too. And your desires for what you want, now is the time to chase after those desires, those primal desires inside of you. Nobody can really stand in your way as we blaze our own trail during this time. Now, the downside of Mars in Scorpio can be you may be more vindictive or selfish or self-destructive, or you're destructive in the way of hurting your relationship. So those kind of things you may want to look out for at this time as well. Now, the final thing, which is a super important thing, is on October 14th, we have a solar eclipse. This solar eclipse occurs at 12:55 p.m. Central Time and 1:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can adjust this for your time zone. You can find a time zone converter online and adjust it to your time zone to find out when this eclipse will occur for you. So the sun and moon conjunct. They hold hands. The sun and moon are meeting each other. And whenever we have a conjunction, we have a meeting of two planets. They're getting illuminated. They're working together. They're merging their energies with each other. So the sun and moon conjunct at 21 degrees and 8 minutes of Libra. So if you have your sun, moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, midheaven, or ascendant between 19 to 23 degrees of the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, this eclipse is going to be extra potent for you. It's going to be extra significant, and it's going to affect you more. So this eclipse really looks at relating to others. Your relationships with others. Looking at your relationships and how you are relating with other people. And it looks at, the give and take. Are you having a balance between giving to that person and then receiving that love back? Or is it one person carrying out all the work and doing all the work and pulling more of the weight than the other person in the relationship? Are you open and receptive and loving to that person that you're in a relationship with? Are you allowing them space? And are you allowing their opinions to be there? Are you, relating to other people in a positive way? This is also great for negotiating, for merging opposing viewpoints, of having several people in a room whose viewpoints are very, very different than each other, and finding, listening to everybody, listening to everyone's opinions, and then finding that that fair compromise when everyone's sharing their opinions, and then you take what is what is everyone's opinions on a given issue, and you are coming to a conclusion. So this is good for talking things out, having healthy conflict, becoming more agreeable, becoming more diplomatic in terms of relationships where you're open to hearing the other's perspective and you don't want to fight. You want to understand where they're coming from. So peace and diplomacy are also something really, really important here. The other thing is this eclipse provides a good opportunity for you to evaluate, what do you need to balance in your life? What area of life are you taking to extremes and you need to balance out with another area of life? And so what kind of old relationship patterns are not working out for you? People-pleasing, codependency, entanglement, enmeshment. So what is something that you know is not working for you anymore? That you know is not checking out for you and checking those boxes? Maybe you were dependent on somebody else who provided you with things that you needed or wanted, and you need to be more self-sufficient. Maybe it is relying on somebody for your survival when really you need to take care of yourself. Maybe it's that. Or maybe it is, again, a certain relationship pattern that may not work out for you. And so it's a good idea with this eclipse to get really clear on your personal values when it comes to love. Who is right for you, and who isn't right for you, and what kind of relationship is in alignment with your personal values. So this eclipse is a south node eclipse, which means that the moon is closer to the south node than it is the north node, even though it's a solar eclipse. And I'll actually put a link in the description to for you to read on understanding the astronomy of what a solar eclipse is. A solar eclipse is a new moon eclipse, so it represents new beginnings and fresh starts and intentions and planting new seeds, but it is with the south node. So the south node is releasing what no longer serves you, letting go, purging, removing, eliminating what doesn't work for you. So this can be with love and relationships, because it's the south nodes in Libra. So this could be an initiation of new relationships that you want to start, or a new approach to relating to others. So that's how this energy can show up for you. So thank you for tuning into this video. I hope that you found it helpful and insightful, and I will see you in another video. Bye, everybody.